oxygen, that person's also going to die ultimately of a fatal arrhythmia, right?
Correct. Every one of us in this room will have a fatal arrhythmia at some point.
Right, because that's kind of how you go.
Yes.
This kind of questioning went on most of the points in Fowler's testimony. He's one of the most important and possibly last witnesses for the defense. The defense is expected to close its case possibly as soon as tomorrow.
All right, that is NPR's Adrian Florido in Minneapolis. Thank you, Adrian.
Thanks, Elsa.
Okay, Mayor Wheeler. There you are. Okay, welcome back, colleagues. We're here to consider potential amendments to agenda items 250 and 251. At this point, I would entertain motions pertaining to the institutional sites or RV tiny homes on wheels. I think Commissioner Rubio, no?
I move to adopt Amendment 2.2 from March 31st, 2021 memo pertaining to institutional sites.
Second.
Great. Okay, there's a motion on the table. We have a second from, was that Mayor Wheeler? Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Ryan?
Yes, I am just all about options, and we've made a lot of progress over the last, what feels like a while, the last month in particular, to move this forward. And I've enjoyed the discussion. The testimony has been awesome, and I am looking forward to moving forward. I vote aye.
Max?
I want to thank the staff who's just worked so hard on this measure. Your professionalism and skill is really on display here today. I also want to send out my gratitude to the dozens of Portlanders who showed up to testify or send us emails about these proposals. Your input makes the ordinance before us today even better. And finally, I want to thank the many faith institutions who urged us to adopt this ordinance so that we can work together to shelter our most vulnerable neighbors. And it is for those reasons that today I am delighted to vote aye.
Rubio?
I also want to really thank BPS staff who worked so hard on this, as well as other Bureau staff, and also the community that's advocated for all the different parts of this policy. I believe that the amendment in front of us will make this policy stronger and allow much more flexibility in finding resources to shelter our community. I want to thank Portland Neighbors Welcome, Sunrise PDX, and many community members that have consistently testified on this matter, and for not only bringing this particular amendment forward for discussion, but being willing to roll up your sleeves and help us do so. These initiatives are better when they're co-led with community, and I'm eager to see this move forward. I vote aye.
Wheeler?
I share in my colleagues' support for 2.2. It's good to remember that this conversation actually got its start when we were approached by faith communities, and they asked us for the flexibility they needed in order to be good partners with us to be able to address a vulnerable population. So they approached this very much from a values perspective, and they asked us to approach it from a pragmatic perspective to help them to be able to do what they wanted to do, consistent with what they saw as being their social mission in our community. And so I'm really glad that we were able to come to this resolution. It provides the flexibility that our faith partners need and other institutional partners. This definitely moves the ball in the right direction. I'm very happy to support it. I vote aye. Oh, and the amendment is...
the amendment passes, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, colleagues. I need some legal. Do we have another amendment, correct? Or
Eric, if I'm reading the packet correct, the next one's actually not an amendment, right?
No, I think that the next steps then would be if the amendment passes, that concludes our business today, correct?
Yeah. So
And
just
you'll
as,
walk us through the next steps, and so take it away, Lauren.
oh, okay. So just as a reminder, the record is closed. It's my understanding, Eric, feel free to jump in, but I think council's planning on coming back April 28th to adopt the amended findings and any amended code commentary. That'll be sort of the penultimate step. Then there'll be one more final vote, but the findings will come back to reflect all of the changes you've made, and the record will remain closed until then. Anything I missed, Eric?
No, that's correct. And Commissioner Ryan, to your point earlier, there was no amendment on the table yet for the RV and tiny house topic unless you were compelled to add one today.
No, hearing none. So thank you for the update, Lauren. That was very helpful. That was a really productive discussion for today, and I just want to thank Lauren. I want to also thank our colleagues. And with that, it's time to go join a beautiful beautiful spring evening. And this meeting's adjourned.
Is, it talks about the chronic errors that we keep making in these conflicts. So we've made them in Afghanistan, we've made them in Iraq, we've made them in Vietnam, and there needs to be some reckoning about why these interventions continue turning into quagmires and the extent to which things are worth it, as you asked, is going to be measured, I think, by the accountability and by the reforms that we make to how we wage war and how we engage in these sort of conflicts in the future.
That is retired U.S. Army Colonel Chris Kalinda. He's a fellow at the Center for New American Security and founder of the Strategic Leadership Academy. Colonel Kalinda, glad to speak with you.
Thank you very much for having me.
No matter where you are at this time tomorrow, you can still hear the show. If you aren't by your radio, ask your smart speaker to play NPR or your local station by name.
Hammer Studio at OPB, this is All Things Considered. I'm Tiffany Kamhai. Federal prosecutors say they will not charge a police officer who shot and killed a woman as she climbed through the broken part of a door during the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Authorities had considered for months whether criminal charges were appropriate for the Capitol police officer who fatally shot Ashley Babbitt, a 35-year-old Air Force veteran. Prosecutors say they reviewed videos, witness statements, and examined physical evidence. The Justice Department's decision today officially closes out the investigation. And the Oregon Department of Forestry says the number of small wildfires in the state has tripled this spring. It's partly because of dry conditions across Oregon. The agency says